Hi guys, welcome back. I've pretty much finished welding everything up. It's the upper jaw here. Got all the bosses or the pivot points welded up. Welded all the tubing together. This is pretty much ready to go for paint. The only thing I've got left to do now is I need to make what I'm guessing I'm going to call the forks. I'm going to add some about 5 inches of extension on the end to sit in here to act kind of like pallet forks, help get under brush piles and logs and things like that. Basically sort of a lead in. So I'm going to make those out of 1-inch square tubing. I'm going to bend them down and get them all welded up. So that's our next step going forward. So the idea that I'm going to do here is I've got about 8 inches that's going to be welded to the lower jaw, and then I'm going to cut along this radius here. I'm going to bend this piece down so it makes contact with the bottom and kind of create an angle, and then weld all that up, and then obviously the material that's left up here will get cut off, and this whole thing will be welded up into one piece. So I'll have kind of a straight piece and then kind of a wedge shape coming off of here. So that's kind of the plan. The original design had just solid bar stock I was going to use, and I don't have any of that handy. And again, I'm kind of doing this on the cheap. I don't want to go out and buy a 10-foot stick of stuff I don't need. So I'm just going to use what I have, and I think it'll work out just fine. God darn it. Just about done welding. I've got a couple of pivot points in the back here. I got to tack on a little better. After that, I think all the welding is done. These are going to be a pain to get at. We're going to call that key for done. I would estimate this thing weighs right now in its current configuration about 60 pounds just for the lower part of it. Maybe a little less. I don't know. What did I do with the wrench? So, yep, that's all it was. I just needed to pull some paint off of out of the center of those. There's actually more paint in the upper jaw than I thought there was. Enough to hose up the works. Putting these shoulder bolts in dry with no grease for now, so we can make sure everything is doing what I think it should be doing. And then I'll pull the bolts out and put a layer of grease on them. And I suspect, since the shoulder bolts are harder than my bushings, as I use this thing, these pivot points are going to wear a little bit and get looser. So probably wouldn't hurt to run this thing dry for a little bit and have it kind of seat itself a little better than what it is. As you guys saw in the videos, I didn't have any jigs or anything like that to keep this stuff together and lined up really well, so things are a little tighter than they were before I started welding things up really well. So my alignment probably is not as good as it was when I just tacked everything up. Loosen these up just a little bit so I can shift the jaw away from me just a little bit. I can put some clearance between these two pivots, if it'll let me. And as I tighten this one down here, it should pull everything now towards me. Oh, let's see, a little bit of a gap there. More. Just a little bit more. Well, that seems to be working. Next up will be the actuator. Let's get this into another position. Right, now should have. That's got to go up, so I actually have to put power to this thing. It's actually kind of a pretty slick setup with this wireless. Connect that. And I connect the controller down here. And I need to go up. Now let's see if I can get this to line up with that paint in there. I was so concerned with the pivot points, I didn't think about the actuator pivot points. Through this with sandpaper, or this thing has really twisted. Oh, bollocks. Well, I guess I'm sanding these out too. I'll be back. All right, well, with a little finagling, a little sanding, get the paint out of everything, we have functionality. Yeah, so it works. So it works. Seems to be working okay. I'm going to start mounting this stuff up and Maybe go try it out on a brush pile, see what happens. Okay, I made a new terminal for my battery. I guess in the big scheme of things, probably the weak link of this whole thing is going to be the electrical system. But I guess we're going to have to play with it and see what we get as we get some time on it. I'm sure this is going to change 15 times. So I'm going to use this little sticky pad to mount the controller for now, until I can come up with a better way of doing this. I think what I'm going to do is mount this thing down in here on the plate that protects the actuator, and then run this thing. Where's this thing going to go here? That's going to go on there. All right, ship it. Yes, I found your squeaky, Roscoe.